Brilliance Audio presents the unabridged recording of The Locust Effect: Why the End of Poverty Requires the End of Violence, by Gary A. Haugen and Victor Boutros. Performed by Arthur Morey. Introduction. It was my first massacre site. Today the skulls are all neatly stacked on shelves, but when I first encountered them, they definitely were not. They were attached to bodies, mostly skeletal remains, in a massive mess of rotting human corpses in a small brick church in Rwanda. As the director of the tiny United Nations Special Investigations Unit in Rwanda, immediately following the genocide in 1994, I was given a list of 100 mass graves and massacre sites across an impoverished, mountainous country, where nearly 1 million people had been slaughtered, mostly by machete, in a span of about 10 weeks. When I stepped off the military transport plane to join the small international team of criminal investigators and prosecutors that were assembling in the Rwandan capital in the early weeks after the genocide, the country carried an eerie, post-apocalyptic emptiness. I didn't even realize until I was loading into a van outside the airport that I had entered Rwanda without passing through customs and immigration. Because there was no customs and immigration. The usual and powerfully subconscious markers of order and civilization and security had been utterly swept away in an engulfing orgy of genocidal war. And it didn't feel good. In those early days, my task was to help the UN's Commission of Experts make a gross accounting of what had taken place and to begin gathering evidence against the leaders of the genocide. It would be more than a year before any international tribunal would be set up. But with hundreds of thousands of murders, where were we to start? We ended up starting in Ntarama, a small town just south of Kigali, in a small church compound where all the bodies remained just as their killers had left them, strewn wall-to-wall in a knee-high mass of corpses, rotting clothes, and the desperate personal effects of very poor people hoping to survive a siege. But they did not survive. And now 4 Spanish forensic experts were working with me in picking through the remains and lifting out each skull for a simple accounting. Woman, Michelle.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?